Welcome guys to another episode of Living Life with Z. This is a follow-up video to my initial video that I was talking about, why you should move to the East. So in this video, the reason why I'm making this video is to put a lot of emphasis of what I think. This is just my opinion. This is not any financial advice or legal advice to anybody, of what I think is happening in the markets and in the economy. I feel that economy is slowing down and a lot of people are speculating a housing market crash. Don't quote me on this, but the way how life is it's pointing towards rough times for a lot of Canadians and Americans. So what is my forecast for the next 3 to 5 years for Canada and America? I definitely think that the interest rates are going to stay up, because the way how in economy inflation works is that by the time inflation has made its way into food, and that is usually when a lot of problems start. Up until in a society, you have housing, people can afford housing, affordable housing. They're gonna go rent. They're gonna find alternative. Maybe they're gonna share space with somebody else. So people don't really tend to fight when housing becomes unaffordable. But when food becomes unaffordable, now this is a third world country problem that people. This is literally a scene from a horror movie at that point in time, where if people cannot afford groceries, you're gonna see crime and fraud and all kinds of other problems that are going to be on the rise. So let's put this in as one of the problems of what I foresee coming in the next 3 to 5 years. 100%, I think this is, once again, my opinion. I do think that the crime in Canada and America is going to be on the rise. Point number two is government are going to cut back on spending. When you are entering a recession, governments tend not to spend frivolously on support programs of any kind, or offer any type of help to people in terms of what they were doing back in COVID. Governments are already exhausted. They don't have any money else to basically give out. So you're going to see a lot of rollbacks, and you're going to see a lot of issues along the lines of governments, government cutbacks, and people, infrastructure decay, meaning you're going to see broken roads, broken bridges, a lot of the amenities that make a country into a first world country, they, in my opinion, are going to suffer. And based on I'm looking at the data, what's available on tomorrow. Everything just could go back to normal. But what is the likelihood of it? I let my audience, be the judge of that. But based on the current trajectory, point number 3, that I foresee that there's going to be a lot of bankruptcies and a lot of foreclosures. Because once the debt ceiling, I'm talking about the personal consumer debt, once it goes over a certain limit, and then you have high cost of interest rates of borrowing, then people, they're going to lose their houses, their cars. And I do think there is a car bubble. In 2008 it was the housing bubble. This time I think the housing bubble is there, but I think a car bubble is the next bubble that's it's taking place. So let's see how that's gonna be unfolding. But when consumer debt goes to that specific levels, at that point in time you have a lot of people, at that point in time either going bankrupt or insolvent or doing consumer proposals. So this would be another problem that would create a lot of slowdowns in the market. And usually, if you look at the past trends, so in this video, we just discussed 3 indicators, and these 3 indicators are enough for a person to be strongly affected by, a person's life to be affected in a very adverse way. And where that takes us, a lot of times, if you look at the last 100 years of history, that takes you towards either war or, depression, or in a way where where a person would seek a better life elsewhere. So I'm gonna end this video on this note and leave you with this thought, and in the next video we're going to elaborate more on this subject and on this trajectory, and look at potential solutions for an average Canadian or American of what are their options in terms of how can they maintain the American dream or the Canadian dream, and how can they minimize the effects of what's happening in the markets and all that's basically happened these past couple of years. So stay tuned, guys, and thank you for tuning into this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and have a nice one. Thank you.